If you are hearing this message, just know that you are not alone.
Hey, what's happening everyone? SirJames coming at you guys with another video. In today's video, I'm here to provide you with my review of Archangel on the PlayStation VR. The game will be releasing later on this year for the HTC Vive and of course the Oculus Rift. Now, to kind of give you an idea of the storyline without going into any type of major spoilers, is that you are a pilot testing out this new advanced mech for your military force. Unfortunately, your base becomes under attack because there appears to be a traitor amongst your ranks, and then from there you set off on a journey of revenge and redemption to stop this opposing force from stealing the mech from you, and of course a few other reasons along the way. Now, to go over the game's visual standpoint, I was actually pretty impressed on how well this game looked on the PlayStation 4. Now, this game is using the Unreal Engine 4, which definitely helped out quite a bit, and I was actually pretty pleased on how the character models and of course the mech itself looked, especially when you are raising your move controllers and basically moving your wrist around to kind of get a feel of the mech suit, because in a way it's kind of like a Titanfall mixed with Pacific Rim. That's the type of feeling that you have while you're playing this game, and all of which looked great. The only thing I didn't really like is that there are going to be some segments where you're kind of having a flashback. Instead of using character models, they kind of used a different frame for that. I kind of wish they used character models, but for the most part, the visual aspect of the game was actually surprisingly good for this title, and I definitely have to applaud them on that. Now, up next is the initial gameplay, and the gameplay here is very simple to understand, and you're not going to have any complications because this game is pretty much an on-rail shooter. So the mech, of course, it's going to move on its own from segment to segment, depending on what level you are and what's happening at that point in time. And of course, from there, you'll be able to use the move controllers. In this case, I would recommend the move controllers due to the fact that you have a little bit more freedom of movement. What's nice about it is that you definitely feel one-on-one with your mech. As you're raising and lower your arms, the mech is copying that same exact movement. As you're twisting around your wrist, the mech is also doing the same thing, and it just feels great. Like, think of the movie Pacific Rim. You know how the pilots were basically kind of mined together and they were one with the mechs? It's basically what you got here, except you're just a single pilot, and of course with an AI companion, something similar to things like Titanfall 2. Now, again, you're going to have a few different things you have to worry about. For one, of course, you have your different varieties of weapons and shielding. Let's go ahead and start with the basic shield. Now, you do have a shield on both the left and right hand side. As you see enemy attacks coming your way, you're able to hold down the shield to block certain enemy attacks, though do keep in mind that the more you progress into the game, there are going to be specific type of missiles that you won't be able to defend yourself with the basic shield. Instead, you will have to shoot them down. And of course, what's nice is that on the left hand side, you're going to have much more of the heavy weapons, such as rockets and lock-on missiles and all that, while on the right side, you are going to have things like laser shots and of course your machine gun, which is what you get by default. Same thing with the missile launcher, and all of which work really well hand in hand. Now, do keep in mind that depending on what weapon you're using at the time, may have a little bit of a longer reload time or recharging state. And as far as the shield goes, the shields actually recharge pretty quickly, but if you hold the shield down for very long, you're actually going to notice that's going to start to glow reddish orange, and they'll disappear for just a few seconds, allowing it to kind of recharge since it's overheated. But what's nice too is that at the end of the round, depending on how well you did in terms of your combat stats and health and whatnot, you are actually going to rake up points, and which you could use to upgrade your weaponry as you unlock them along the way. And of course, you could also upgrade the armor of your mech, and of course the shield as well. But the gameplay portion of this was definitely solid for an on-rail shooter. Just the only downside is that it was a little bit on the short side as well. But again, there's definitely a nice difficulty spike that you could have here, especially if you up the challenge. But again, the gameplay is rock solid. Now, going over the game's initial lifespan, there isn't a huge lifespan, but it's kind of like one of those games that you would be glad to go back to replay over and over again, even though it's not too long of a game to begin with. The initial game actually took me just about a little bit over a couple hours to complete with a variety of different missions, but the replay value here is that you could also go back to unlock more points and just to kind of maximize your mech here, and of course to kind of complete the rest of the trophy list, especially if you are a trophy hunter. But again, this is one of those fun arcade shooters, so even it's on the short side for its storyline, it's one of the games that you could easily come back to and replay it over and over again and never get bored of it. Just in my opinion, I kind of feel like the $40 price tag it's asking is probably a little bit on the high side, but that's just my personal opinion. But again, overall, it's a very solid game and definitely one that's worth picking up on the PlayStation VR, or of course any of the other two options for VR as well, such as Oculus or the HTC Vive. But in the end, I'm actually going to give this game a 9 out of 10. It's a solid game, the visuals look great, the gameplay is solid, especially with the one-on-one controls with the Move controllers. Upgrade system, I mean, you just can't go wrong for this. But if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.